Time for a spooky story from my College of Charleston days. So I graduated from the College of Charleston 20 years ago. Around the time this was happening, it was my senior year. I was living off campus in this creepy little apartment, I think near Spring Street. Those of y'all in Charleston know where that's at. Not the nicest part of town. There was a decrepit old church across the street with a graveyard, so that's important. Anyway, me and my roommate moved in. It was summer, and we were on the second floor. It's like you went in through downstairs on the first floor, and there's some really steep stairs to this little apartment. 2-bedroom, 1-bath, kitchen, pretty basic. I did notice that, I don't know, it smelled kind of funky, but I mean, that could have been whatever. The floors were like original hardwood floors, probably from like 100 years ago, no joke. All the windows were sealed shut. They did not open at all. There were some really weird scratch marks in the living room. But whatever. I'm like 21 years old. I'm, whatever, just a place to live for the year. So my roommate and I each had our own bedroom. So it was a living room, the kitchen, her bedroom, bathroom, and my bedroom. This was a really, really old house that had been made into different apartments. So I think it had the original doors. There was probably about this much gap between the hardwood floor and the doors. So it kind of started out, I would be in my room with the door shut, and I would see like feet walking by my door. And I would yell out for my roommate, thinking it was her going by, and she would still be in her room. We'd wake up, the refrigerator door would be wide open, all the cabinets would be open. At night, I'd wake up sometimes, and it sounded like someone was in the kitchen cooking. We didn't have any pets or anything. No one else had a key to our apartment. It was just me and her. Then the horrible rotting smells started. It was kind of like all over the apartment. And then we had this random, well, not so random now looking back, fly infestation. My bedroom, the way my bed was, it was like right underneath this window. And I woke up this one morning, no joke, and the entire window was covered in black flies, like live flies. It was like that one movie from back in the day. I can't remember which one it is. With this horrible rotting smell. We checked to see if there was like anything in the apartment that was dead, like, I don't know, rotten food or something. Nothing. Around the same time the smell and the flies started, and the footsteps on the door, we started hearing footsteps upstairs, like really disruptive at all hours of the day and night. We didn't know like if we had some new neighbors that moved in or what the deal was. So it got bad enough that we called the landlord and to complain about the upstairs neighbors, because it was just ridiculous. And I was in college, we were partying, like it was bad enough that it was bad for us, you know what I mean? So we called the landlord and didn't get them. They called us back and they were like, there's nobody upstairs. And we were like, what do you mean? They're like, there's no third floor. And like, I remember feeling like I was going to throw up. So me and my roommate, we walked outside. We looked up, and sure enough, there was just like an attic area over our second floor apartment. There was no third floor apartment. Like, you could tell there was nobody living up there. I mean, we thought that it could be rats or squirrels or something like that, but I'm telling you, it was heavy footsteps. We would hear like sliding or things like being pushed around up there. So this is continuing probably for about a month or two at this point. I'm obviously not wanting to stay there at the apartment. My roommate was staying with her boyfriend, so I was there alone a lot of the time. Around this time, I started having these horrible night terrors, but in the daytime. I would fall asleep, like in between classes. I'd come back to the apartment and lay on the couch. Next thing you know, I'm asleep, and it was always the same nightmare. I was like on the couch, I was aware of my body, and all I could see was the silhouette, or really the image of a woman, like a rounder woman wearing dark polka dot dress. It was like navy blue or black with white polka dots, hose and these like kitten heel black high heels. And she was strangling me. She was trying to hurt me. It was always the same dream. It was me on the couch, her trying to strangle me or suffocate me, and me screaming in my dream to wake up, and I could never wake up. So at this point, I was raised Catholic. I had talked to my parents about it. My mom back in Virginia, she sent me the rosary. She's like, you need to get a priest there. Like, this is more than just some paranormal activity. It sounds demonic. So I'm like, yeah, I probably do. So, I'm waiting for her to send me all that stuff. And part of me is not wanting to believe this is actually really my life right now. So it's like a Friday night or something. My roommate and I have a couple friends over, and this is the early 2000s. So we didn't have the flat screen TVs like we have now. We had those big bulky TVs, and it was set up in the corner in the living room, and I had these little votive candles on top, like 3 little candles, and they're all lit. So there was like something funny on TV. I don't know. It could have been the Chappelle Show, probably. And something funny happened on the show. Like, I stood up, I think, to go to the kitchen, and I was laughing. And I stood up, like, kind of in the middle of the room, and the votive candle that was in the center of the TV that was lit literally shot at me, dropped on the ground, and spun. Like, swear to God. I was sober, okay? Like, this wasn't like a hallucination. This was, like, real. And there was 3 other people that saw it, and everyone was like, what the fuck? Like, this went from creepy to really creepy to, like, now this is, like, trying to hurt me. At this point, it had probably been about 3 months or so. My roommate at that point had kind of like basically moved out. She was staying with her boyfriend or friends. I would try to stay out too. Like, I didn't want to come back. I got the rosary and everything from my mom. Tried blessing the house. I never got a priest to come out there because, I was in my early 20s. I probably didn't want to go to the old Catholic church in Charleston telling them that my apartment was haunted or demonically possessed, and I need someone to come help me out because they would have thought I was crazy. But now I totally would have. The church that I mentioned across the street, it was an old African-American church. And I don't know if y'all have been to Charleston or old cities. A lot of times they would have like an original graveyard, and they would move all the headstones to like out of the way, basically, to like construct buildings, homes, parking lots, parking garages, whatever. So they're disrupting the graves. So we looked at the graveyard, and you could see where they had clearly been moved, like all the headstones were moved. So I don't know what we were sitting on top of. Obviously there was something evil there. I think we stayed, we moved in like August. I think we gave it fully till about November at the end of the semester, and that was it. Like, I don't even think I got all my stuff out of there. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. To this day, I've never gone back to that apartment building. Like, I'm kind of curious to see. Like, I've tried researching it. I've used Google to see, what happened there. But that vision or that night terror of that woman with the polka dot dress and the pantyhose and the black heels trying to hurt me was as real as you and me are. Like, I'm committed to that. Like, something happened involving some woman that looked like that. I don't know who, but I moved out of there, never had that dream again. I've experienced other supernatural things, but nothing with like a demonic undertone to that extent. I told some people those stories or this story, and they think I'm kind of crazy, but I swear Charleston is super haunted. If you don't believe me, go spend the night anywhere and you'll see them telling the truth.